today sees the launch of a new campaign. It's called GetSetGo. It's asking parents to make sure their kids are playing safely when they unwrap their new consoles. Andy Robertson is a family games expert and editor of AskAboutGames.com. Andy, afternoon, mate. Most parents probably don't really think about the kind of things their kids are playing on their consoles, certainly wouldn't be worried about it. Do you think they should be?
I think it's worth paying attention. I mean, the first thing is just it's a nice way to sort of share some time as a family. So games used to be something that we think about as kids playing in their bedrooms, but really these days it's something the whole family can enjoy. And so setting up the consoles correctly when you get them before you wrap them up, getting those family settings on there is a really nice way to start that conversation.
And along with that, sort of the family settings, is that sort of the best way to keep your kids safe online? Is there any other hints and tips you might have?
A good thing to know is that all these new consoles, and actually consoles for a number of generations, the PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo, have always had these settings that let you specify what age-rated games your kids can play, how long they can play for, and whether they can spend money. And you put that behind a password so it's very safe. But along with that, my advice is always just to play some games together, because as you see your children playing, you get a sense of what they're doing and who they're interacting with. And so it's not something that's this alien thing, and actually it's this thing that you share, you know, like other activities you do in the family.
Like you say there, you don't want it to become this alien thing. You don't want it to be a complete distance between what the children know about the console and what the parents do. And actually, it could be quite scary for somebody who doesn't know anything about consoles to hear about you've got to get on there and put these parental controls. Actually, it could be quite easy to say, do you know what, let's not even bother. But these games can be great for children and, like you said, great for the whole family to bring them together.
Yeah, and I think at the moment as well, along with the entertainment, you know, kids are using games to keep in contact with friends. My kids, during the various lockdowns we've had at different times, or they've been home from school, they've been able to keep in touch with friends and sort of see how it's going, support each other, and actually sometimes just talk about, you know, have you got the homework done? Is this, you know, how was the maths this week? And there's some really nice connection that can happen that doesn't happen in other ways at the moment.
How easy is it for a family to come together, play games on a budget?
I think if you choose the right games and you choose the right systems, you know, I think one thing is worth saying, you know, it's great to have these brand new systems, and there's going to be a lot of sort of excitement of the kind of the new graphics and visuals, but the current generation means it will be a lot cheaper, and so you could either pick up a second-hand console or a new one at a knockdown price, and get into gaming without having to spend loads of money. And also, you know, if you've got technology in the home already, many of the devices we have, we can already play games on, whether that's tablets or smart TVs. And so there's lots of ways to play games and just to sort of dip your toe in that water without spending loads of money.
How easy is it to find those games to play together?
Yeah, so I run this website, Ask About Games, which is aimed sort of squarely at parents to answer that question, really. It's a kind of a space, there's no jargon. There's no kind of complicated language, but we present little stories, really, of how the games that families have found that work. And there are some great examples. One I've just been writing about is a game called Overcooked, where the four players come together and you kind of have to make these different recipes. And so mum, dad and the kids has to work out who's cooking, who's washing up, who's serving in the restaurant. And it's just a lot of fun. You have to kind of communicate with each other. And so hearing some of those stories can sort of open the door to families thinking, oh, actually, I'm going to give this a go and try out some of these games because they're just a lot of fun.
The big question when it comes to the new consoles, PlayStation and Xbox that we mentioned, have the next generation out next week. They're going to be a fair bit of money, and new games potentially expected to be up to around about 70 quid. So in your opinion, are they going to be worth the cash?
I think, you know, if you're the sort of person or sort of family that plays these big budget games a lot of time, then they're a high price. But like a lot of things we spend money on, for that high price, you get many hours of entertainment. I think equally it's worth, you know, being savvy about it and thinking, actually, we don't play as much, and so maybe we'll opt for games which are a bit shorter and a bit cheaper. And there's also lots of other ways to get games. You can subscribe to services like a kind of Netflix kind of approach, where you pay a small amount each month and have access to a library of games on whether that's PlayStation or Xbox or on the Switch. And so by doing a little bit of research, and Ask About Games is a good place to start that, you can make decisions in an informed way about how you're spending money, as well as putting settings on the system so that you know when that money's being spent, and there's a password that has to be given out before any transactions take place.
Andy Robertson, editor of AskAboutGames.com. Thank you so much for your time.